So are notes important in medical school? This is a big question. When I came to medical school, I was really expecting notes to be a big part of my study process and of my everyday life, something I'd be doing when I attended each lecture. And that's because I had taken a lot of notes when I was in school, and this was a very common way that people used to study. And before coming to medical school, I watched videos like this one and that one and this one that made me think that this was the best thing to do. In fact, note taking seemed so important to me that I even bought this because of the idea of taking digital notes. So I thought note taking is something I'd be doing all the time. But after around 4.5 years in medical school, what I found out is note taking is not really as important as you think it is. And here's why. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Shivaan and I'm a 5th and final year medical student at King's College London. And in today's video, we're going to talk about the importance of note-taking in medical school. But before we do that, I want you to go check out my YouTube channel because over there I make videos about medical school and university as well as travel and lifestyle. So go check it out. You'll find some vlogs, some videos on how to survive medical school, how to get into medical school, and the same for university. And of course, some travel vlogs and travel videos and lifestyle related stuff. So check it out. If you think it's something you'd be into, it's something you'd be interested in, then smash that subscribe button and join me for a lot more. So as I said, note-taking, it's a widely discussed topic, and I know many people still use that method, whether it's in medical school or elsewhere. But I have some slightly strong opinions on it because of my experiences and what I've seen around me. So why do we take notes? That's a very important question to answer in the first place. So note-taking serves two purposes. Firstly, collecting information. So you take notes so that you can compile information from lectures, from PowerPoints, or from resources online into one concise sort of page or one concise set of notes. So that ideally you can refer back to it at any time and you have all the important information that you need to recall, remember, and that you need to understand the topic that you're learning. The second purpose that note-taking serves is as a method for learning. So that is for people who believe that the note-taking or the action of taking notes is something that helps them learn and retain information. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to discuss both these different purposes of note-taking and kind of demonstrate to you why I think note-taking is not the best idea in medical school and why it doesn't really work for most people. First of all, collecting information. So note-taking for collecting information, it was relevant and it was a good idea at one point, but in today's digital age where you find endless resources online, you have access to many different websites that can sum up things in a very concise manner for you, note-taking is no longer as important. Note-taking is a bit of an outdated idea for a time when you would go to a lecture in medical school and your lecturer would be talking and basically writing down stuff on like a whiteboard or a blackboard and then erasing it. So that's a place that you would have really needed notes because you're not going to remember everything that he's saying. You're not going to just recall it off the top of your head. So you need to take notes, right? But in today's day where you can go on to a website like Zero to Finals, or you can go on to Osmosis and you can find all these different topics summed up very concisely, you don't really need to take notes as much because the information has already been collected and summarized for you. The amount of content in medical school is so vast that if you spend a lot of time consolidating this information into notes, you're going to be wasting a lot of time that you could spend on learning and recalling things instead. The second purpose of note-taking that we discussed was as a method of learning or a method of retaining information. So, studies have shown that note-taking is ideally not the most effective method for recalling information or retaining information, and similarly for learning. because something I have found for myself is when I take notes, I sometimes get more involved in the process of actually writing and taking those notes down than I am engaged in what the notes I'm taking actually are. Do you get what I'm saying? So for example, if I'm watching a lecture and I'm taking notes, I am focused on writing the words down rather than understanding what the lecturer is trying to say. I actually find note-taking to be quite a barrier to learning and retaining information because it can actually be quite distracting. Then again, it may work for some people. I'm not saying it doesn't work for everyone, but for most people, I assume that would be the case. And logic dictates that note-taking is probably not the best way to learn and retain. I just want to clarify that note-taking is still a very important skill as a doctor or a medical student, but just not to study, more as a method of documentation and as an administrative process to record things when you're a doctor or when you're in a clinical environment. So now that we've discussed why note-taking is probably not the best thing to do in medical school, what should you do instead? So don't worry, I'm not going to leave you high and dry by telling you that the way you're studying is wrong, or if you were planning to take notes, you can't do that and there's no way to sort of study efficiently in medical school. That's absolutely not the case. So let's discuss some alternative methods for studying and how to replace the practice of note-taking. So like we discussed, again, returning to the two purposes of note-taking and how we're going to achieve those two goals in a more efficient manner. So firstly, collecting information. So don't waste your time on collecting information because there are endless websites out there that have the information for you. What I'm going to do today is help you out a bit by providing you with some of these websites. So I am a medical student in the UK, so most of these websites are tailored to the UK. Afterwards, I will include a quick slide on general websites that have good, concise summaries of medical conditions. But if you're in the UK, you can definitely use websites like Zero to Finals, Past Medicine, QuestMed, and the BMJ and NICE's clinical summaries. These are all great resources to find information on various different conditions and various different diseases, and you'll have everything from the etiology to the epidemiology to the signs and symptoms, the management, the investigations, everything. And if you're going more into the physiology and anatomy of things, you have things like Osmosis, Ackland's Anatomy, and Anatomedia, these sort of websites. So those are places that you can refer to for the information and for the summaries rather than, again, wasting time on taking notes. Because at the end of the day in medical school, you can't really pick and choose information, which is sometimes what you end up doing when you're taking notes. You really do have to know everything. All information is almost equally important. So there's no point of summarizing those summaries even further because you pretty much have to know most of what's in there. So now we come to how to retain information, how to learn stuff if you're not doing it through taking notes. So firstly, like I said, pay attention in your lectures, pay attention on the words, and pay attention when someone's talking or you're watching something rather than taking down endless notes, because you will definitely understand what they're saying better and you will retain it more than if you take notes, and then obviously you can refer back to it on different websites or your lecture slides or whatever. And the second great way to learn is by actually attempting some sort of questions or testing yourself, which is something I've said repeatedly, and it's something you'll see online as well. And you'll see most successful medical students say the exact same thing. So attempt past questions or question banks, because those are a very effective way of learning. And what I found is they can be quite engaging and entertaining almost, so they keep you going for a longer period of time. So this is not a practice that I alone subscribe to, because I don't want to give you advice just based on myself, but I've come across a bunch of incredibly successful junior doctors over the past few years who swear by question banks as a method of studying. Flashcards, I believe, are another great way to study, and they're a great way to get down your fundamentals. One catch of flashcards though is that you waste a lot of time making flashcards. Like I said, the content in medical school is so much that you'd spend hours and hours making flashcards. every day, and then it would be so long before you could actually get to studying those flashcards. And for that to be efficient, you have to go over those flashcards again and again and again and again multiple times. So it's going to be really difficult. A great alternative is to find flashcards online instead. So whether that's pre-made Anki decks or pre-made decks on Quizlet, or QuestMed and PassMed's flashcards that they already have preset and that are tailored to what you get wrong in the questions that you attempt. So they're actually a very, very good resource to learn. And then of course, for learning information, do read up on those summaries as well, just as you would read your notes. It's definitely a good idea to go over it, because even though rereading is not a very effective method of studying, sometimes it's required, because it's difficult to make sure that you've covered absolutely everything by just attempting questions. Although if you attempt enough, you most probably will. Anyway, that is my take on whether or not you should take notes in medical school, and if not, what you should do instead. I hope you found this video helpful if you're a medical student or any other sort of student and you're studying and you're wondering what the best way to study is. I hope this was insightful, and if it was, definitely drop a like down below. Smash that subscribe button. Leave any comments asking me any questions or anything like that. And yeah, I will see you in the next one.